Alright, let's get this over with. Sorry if I don't seem like I'm in the best mood about this, but I already know what's gonna happen, so I am not looking forward to this at all. Today we're talking about episode 18, season 2 of Vinland Saga, titled The First Method, and with a Crunchyroll description like that, I'd have to say the foreshadowing is on point. So the great King Canute is on his way to steal Ketil's farm because he's really feeling himself after this whole royal glow-up he's been going through recently. I mean, he's already committed fratricide and patricide. What's stealing somebody's land at this point? Killing a couple hundred villagers. Fuck it. Let's just do this thing. Ketil arrives back at the farm, still shell-shocked over the situation, realizing that he's basically been evicted from his land for something that he didn't do, and he's rightfully, well, traumatized. Now, of course, Thorgil hears that you want to evict him, and he's going to want the smoke. This man lives and breathes smoke. He hasn't tasted air a day in his life. I'm pretty sure he goes to sleep with black Air Forces on. And so, as Thorgil rallies the troops for what is sure to be the fastest suicide run in history, Ketil walks off and attempts to find Arnheid, his comfort woman, his only source of peace in this troubling time. A slave woman. A slave woman. Huh, I pronounced that weird. I probably should have taken it out. It's almost like I wanted to put emphasis on the word slave. Anyway, Leif and his crew of merchants are desperately trying to get Ketil to not only pay them for the cargo, but also point them in the way of Thorfinn so that they can get the fuck out of Dodge before the king shows up. But Ketil is in full zombie state, looking for Arnheid. Speaking of Arnheid, Thorfinn and Einar are tied up from having tried to help her escape, and they're wondering whether or not she's going to get any really brutal punishment. But considering the fact that Arnheid is Ketil's mistress, it's, hopeful to believe that she won't have to suffer nearly as bad as anybody else would. You would hope. However, given the gravity of the situation, I mean, a lot of people have died as a result of this whole escapade. Yeah, let's call it that. It's kind of up in the air what's actually going to happen to Arnheid when Ketil finds out. And if that didn't make things messy enough, she's also pregnant with his child. I wonder how he's going to take the news. Well, we don't have to wait long to find out because Ketil's going around haunting the farm trying to find Arnheid when he suddenly runs into his wife. And she gives him the whole story about Gardar showing up and Arnheid trying to escape, and let's just say, ooh, Ketil snaps. That boy snaps hard. So before we get into the moment that for me really makes this episode what it is, let's review the situation real quick on Ketil's behalf. So here we have a man who essentially got cucked earlier in life by his neighboring village's leader, went through the trouble of building up his father's farm, gave slaves away to free themselves, lied about his past as a warrior so that he could continue to be soft-hearted without scrutiny, built up political alliances to protect himself and his farm from invaders, and got framed and had all of that taken away from him in pretty much what was a weekend. And now his mistress is trying to escape. I'm mentioning all of this, and I want you to remember all of this for what comes next. I want you to remember all of this, because I'm trying to give this man the benefit of the doubt. Let's go. So Leif at least wants to verify that the Thorfinn that he's here to get is the real Thorfinn. But Snake's not letting him in without permission from Ketil. So Snake, other Thorfinn, and Leif all go in search of Ketil. This brings us to the next scene where Arnheid is getting sexually harassed and threatened by the mercenary who's supposed to be guarding her. And then Ketil shows up, and I would just like to say that I've seen some very, very violent things happen in this show, but this is personally the most disturbing thing that I have seen in all of Vinland Saga thus far. And I say all that to say, trigger warning, shit's about to get real. If domestic violence or violence against women, or specifically violence against pregnant women, disturbs you or triggers anything, I want you to skip to this timestamp that is on the screen right now, because it's a doozy. And so Ketil comes in on fucking demon time. He tells the guard to leave now. I need to talk to her alone. You know what that means. And so Arnheid bows her head and closes her eyes. She's expecting a big angry tongue lashing. And then out of nowhere, this man hits her so hard that Sean Connery would blush. Jesus Christ, he mollywops the ever-living fuck out of her. Damn! God damn! I can't tell if that's shock or if her life just flashed before her eyes. You see that look in his eyes? There is no mercy behind those eyes. There is no peace. Only problems. And then he stabs her in the fucking stomach, bro. I'm gonna be completely honest. This was the moment I had to pause the episode. In fact, I'm pausing it right now because, ooh, every time I see that, yeesh. So Arnheid starts pleading with him that she's pregnant and that, please don't aim for the stomach. But this man ain't having it. He doesn't believe a word she has to say anymore. He is done trusting her. He just starts going in. And I really got to give it to the sound design of Vinland Saga, whoever does the sound effects, because holy shit, it sounded like her body turned into straight jelly with those club hits. This man was channeling the spirit of the Joker beating down Jason Todd. And you know what the part is about this scene that really makes it the most disturbing, well, I mean, except for the fact that he's beating up a pregnant woman, is the fact that this is the scene where you finally realize how enslaved Arnheid is compared to all the other slaves on the farm. Everybody else has a way to make it out and become free, except for Arnheid, because she is Ketil's pride and joy, and he's never going to let that go. Key word here is pride. Nobody's going to take his pride from him. Not even her. And because she is his slave and his property, he can do whatever he wants to with her in his mind, including beat the ever-living shit out of her for stress relief. And it takes Snake coming in and stomping him and reminding him that while she is his property, if you continue to beat her, she will be dead. He decides to stop because he doesn't want to let her go, not even into death. And so you remember all that stuff I brought up earlier about, how Ketil's really going through it and how, he's been through all of this stuff up until now. And then this scene happens. I want you to ask yourself, do you feel sympathy for him at all after all this? Do you feel even the slightest inclination to give him the benefit of the doubt? Because I sure as hell don't. Fuck this nigga. Fuck him. Holy shit. In one scene, for me, Ketil became the absolute worst character in all of Vinland Saga. The worst human being in this show. Holy shit. Bar none. Bar none, nigga. I ain't got no love for slavers. So yeah, for me, this was the most disturbing episode of Vinland Saga to date. There were so many moments around that beating where I just had to pause and just take a moment and walk around my room, call my friends, and just decompress about what I just witnessed, because I have not seen an ass whooping that brutal into a more undeserving character than Arnheid in probably, I can't remember when. It's really crazy how a single scene can just completely change your opinion on a character. Up until this, I was like, wow, Ketil's really cool. Freeing slaves and allowing them to have land and even giving them an opportunity once they're free to, just join the farm and be a normal citizen. But now, woo, worst character. Easily worst character. What do you guys think? Is Ketil the worst character in your book after this? How did you feel the first time you saw this scene? Did you cringe? Did you have to take a break? Did it not even bother you? Let me know in the comments section what you thought. Anyway, I'll talk to you guys later. See ya.